Morning, everybody. This is Pastor Kevin with Faith Unfiltered. I want to dive into a question that'll challenge pretty much every one of us. Whose orders are you really following? Are you following God's orders? Or are you following your own personal whims and expectations? See, when we look at John 14, in verse 15, it says, "If you love me, you will obey my commands. You will keep my commands." That's pretty straightforward, isn't it? If we truly love God, then our lives should reflect that love through obedience. But how often do we let our desires take the wheel instead? Imagine driving a car for a moment. You're in the driver's seat. You're in control. But what happens when you take your hands off the steering wheel? You begin to drift a little bit, right? So when we look at Micah is a book in the Old Testament. In chapter 6, verse 8, it says this: "He has shown you, O mortal, what is good. And what does the Lord require of you? To act justly and to love mercy and to walk humbly with your God." This verse is kind of like a GPS because it tells us to be just, to be merciful, and to be humble. But just like you, I'm guilty of this too. We too often choose the shortcut of convenience in our life. We ignore these vital commands in our own life. And we do it for our own preferences. And if you look at the Great Commission, which is found in Matthew 28, it tells us to go and make disciples of all nations. My friends, it just isn't a suggestion here. It's an actual command. How many of us get caught up in our daily routines? So caught up that we forget our higher calling on our life, to go and reach other people. Imagine getting a ticket for an all-expense paid trip to your dream destination, whatever that might be. But instead of going, you stay at home and you binge watch your favorite TV show, or you get on your phone and you just stay on your phone. That's kind of what it's like when we ignore God's commands. So how do we fix this? How do we align our lives with God's orders? It starts with intention. You have to do something. You have to set aside time each day to be in communion with God. You have to pray. You have to read your scriptures. And you have to ask yourself, am I living a way that honors God? And you have to ask yourself, am I making choices that reflect God's will? Next, you can surround yourself with people who inspire you to follow His commands. And also those who hold you accountable. Not the yes men and yes ladies that you're surrounded by, but people that will call you to the carpet when you get off track. And remember that living according to God's orders is not about losing your freedom. It's actually about finding true fulfillment and purpose in your life. Because when we choose to follow Him, when we embark on a journey that leads us to the life of joy, peace, and significance. So my question is, whose orders are you following today? Let's make the choice to follow God's orders. Because I guarantee His plans are always better than our own. Have a great day. Take care.